Falcon flight kites come in two ranges. The first range are the models which have an extending aluminum pole. And the second range are models which has an extending fiberglass poles. When you receive these packages, open them to inspect your contents, and we'll do that now. Let's start with the extending fiberglass pole first. So we've removed the contents from the packaging, and for today's demonstration we've chosen the 28-foot extending fiberglass pole. However, there are three in the range. There's a 22, a 28 and a 31-foot pole, but the assembly instructions are all the same. So now we're going to remove the outer packaging to expose the various components. So inside the carton, with the outer packaging removed, we have the flexi pole, we have the flight pole, and the Falcon, which has to be assembled. Let's do that now. Assembly of the Falcon is very simple. Simply lay it out. Take the two leading edge spars. The one with the brass cap goes through the socket, which is at the nose of the Falcon, and then insert the other spar of the leading edge into the socket there. And there's your leading edge spars already connected. Now, for the other two spars, it is really important that we cross them over and insert the right-hand spar into the left pocket over here, and we take the right-hand spar and we insert that into the right-hand socket over here. There is your Falcon ready assembled. To assemble the pole, simply start by removing the cap, which is adjacent to the label which says open this end. To extend this pole to its full length, and there are 8 sections in here, take the first section and pull it out until you see the first joint. When you reach this joint, take the 2 sections in your hand, pull them firmly apart and twist to get a nice tight joint. Now in strong winds, what I find is that the Falcon will take a vertical dive, and the power of the Falcon can cause the one section to collapse into another. To prevent that from happening, just put a small amount of super glue on the joint, and at the end of the season you can dissolve that by putting on a little bit of nail varnish remover, and the pole can then be collapsed for storage over winter. The next step in the installation is to remove the rubber bung from the other end of the flight pole, and here you'll see there is a grommet with a hole inside. We're going to take the black flexi rod and with the pointed end push that through the rubber bung and insert it inside until there is approximately 2 feet of flexi rod protruding from the end of the pole. So what I do is I purchase a steel washer, put that over the flexi pole before I insert it up inside the flight pole, and at this end here, which is going to protrude, I take a piece of plastic piping, slit it with a utility knife and slip it over the top of a flexi pole, and then we're going to attach that to the T-post in the vineyard, and there will be no abrasion. To attach the flight line for the fiberglass extending poles to the very tip, we simply take the keyring, thread it onto the rotating tip, and there will be the line assembled. So simply open the keyring, thread it onto the loop at the end of the flight pole, and there is your flight line attached. The other end of this flight line is already connected to the Falcon, so it's ready to fly. That's how we shorten the flight line of the Falcon, and this is going to be necessary in almost every installation we have, because it is absolutely imperative that the tail of the Falcon sits 2 feet or more above the height of the highest protruding vine on the string. We take a utility knife, take the blade and simply cut the line. Then we want to remove the 2 fittings which are at the end of the flight line. You can do that by undoing the knot, or you can cut it. Then shorten the length of the line to your required distance, and then remake the knot, which is simply a matter of folding the line over to make a loop. Take the loop, pass it through itself one time, like this, and then pass it through a second time, like that, and then pull the loop tight. take that loop, pass it through one end of your barrel swivel, take the loop, pass it over the keyring like this, and then slide it all the way back and tighten it up. There is your flight line adjusted. So here we have the 28-foot freight kite fully assembled and working in the vineyard. As you can see, we have the galvanized steel washer here protecting the rubber grommet from the steel on the top of the T-post. We have our flexi pole running through the T-post, and we have 4 15-inch heavy-duty plastic zip ties holding the flexi pole firmly to the T-post in the vineyard. This is the aluminum pole model, and we have 2 of these. We have a 20-foot and we have a 42-foot, and these come with individual sections that instead of extending out, they push together. This is the 42, so let's expose the individual sections now and assemble them. This is the 42-foot pole. We've laid out the individual 10 sections, and as you can see, one end of 9 of these 10 poles has a swaged or a compressed end. That compressed end is inserted into the non-compressed end of the next pole. Let's do that now. So we take the second largest pole and insert the swaged or the compressed end into the first pole and just slide them together until the 2 are fully inserted. The top section of both aluminum pole models has a rotating washer with a hole in it, and that hole is used to attach the keyring here, which will then attach the flight line, which will go to the Falcon. Okay. So to install the 42-foot pole, we've dug a small hole at the base of the support post to which it's going to attach, and that will act as the footing for the pole. So we've dug that hole. I'm going to now walk the pole up and attach it to the support pole.